But let's get into this next segment because this came from the live stream that we did yesterday, the live with the viewers or people that are watching this on Monday. They'll be like, okay, that was 2 days ago. But yeah, shout out to that live stream. So much fun. Shout out to all of you guys that came in and participated. Shout out to Deo. Shout out to Howard for coming on and joining the stream. The next one, I don't know what time it'll be at, but it will be this weekend. I'm still figuring that out. But somebody said in the chat, and they talked about Hayden Hurst, and they were just like, man, I really wish we still had Hayden Hurst. And it wasn't really a question or anything like that, but it kind of got me thinking after the the live stream, and I was like, okay. And Josh, I'm going to present you with a question right here. Mm-hmm. Did we lose the Hayden Hurst trade?
No, not in my opinion. As a player, I understand that Hayden Hurst wanted to be the premier tight end. It was a crowded tight end room for him. Can we say that we messed with a little bit of his growth? We can say that. But let's think about it. He did start the season off with an injury that gave the opportunity for Mark Andrews to shine and grow, which he did. Now, once Hayden Hurst got back, he was just pretty much trying to get in where he fit in. And, he was honest with EDC. Say, hey man, I don't think it's going to work out. And they went out and EDC, shopped around and got that pick. We used that. Correct me if I'm wrong. We used that pick to get our now premier running back.
Yes.
So I definitely don't feel like we lost out. I don't know if Hayden Hurst is still going to be with Atlanta since Kyle Pitts been drafted.
I think he wants out is the thing. I believe what I've heard is that he wants out.
Okay.
So. Unfortunate for Atlanta.
It's like he keeps on. It's like a hit or miss with Hayden Hurst right now. He has potential. He is the all-around, tight end as far as blocking, good route running, good hands, decent enough speed, things of that nature. But he just hasn't been in a system where he can truly shine. He's teeter-tottering. So I really don't feel like we're missing out. And the Ravens, y'all have to realize, we make, when a pressure is applied, you can make diamonds. And that's what we do. We apply a lot of pressure on every position in the room, and we make the best of it. Whether it's from a tight end, offensive lineman, only time we didn't apply the pressure and we didn't make diamonds is maybe quarterback and wide receiver. But running backs, every other position, we've done what we've done, So I really don't feel like, we lost out in Hayden Hurst. Could we see a possible reunion? I would take it. I definitely wouldn't mind, taking it back, because at the end of the day, when we saw last season, nothing's wrong with depth. And maybe switching in a Hayden Hurst for Mark Andrews in those games where we really needed those contested catches and, the yardage and stuff like that. Hey, maybe if Hayden was here, he could have did the same thing, or he could have did better. We wouldn't know. So I don't think we lost out on that, but I'll definitely be inviting to a Hayden Hurst reunion.
Yeah, you look at the trade. We traded, Hayden Hurst when he asked for a trade. This isn't something that we just pulled out of our back pocket. When we talk, so many people are disappointed about losing him. He wanted to leave. This wasn't a, oh no, like he wanted to be the guy. He was drafted in the first round with our first pick before Lamar Jackson. And in that same draft, we drafted another tight end in Mark Andrews. And of course, Mark, I'm pretty sure we did. I think that's what happened, honestly.
Yeah, I think Mark was third round.
Yeah, Mark third round alongside Orlando and things like that. Man, that was a good draft. But you look at, what they did, and he came in and he was the tight end one for a little bit. And then all of a sudden this dude named Mark Andrews came in and I was like, oh yeah, this guy who was a excellent pass catcher came in. But like people need to remember, Hayden Hurst was very old when he was drafted. He was a former baseball player that went pro, then went back to college after he got the yips trying to pitch. And so then he had to go back and like start playing tight end at South Carolina, and then got drafted. He was like, I think he was like 25. Maybe he was 24, like definitely older. So his development process was going to be a lot lower. His ceiling is going to be lower. But like he wanted out. And anytime you trade a player that wants out and get a second round pick for him, like that's amazing. Like people are talking about Atlanta getting a second round pick for Julio Jones. We got a second round pick for Hayden Hurst, and he got replaced after 1 year, with Kyle Pitts. And honestly, Kyle Pitts would replace almost any tight end he gets drafted to, but they're sitting there at number 4 with an aging quarterback, and they got Justin Fields on the clock. I'm a massive Justin Fields fan. And they were like, now we need a tight end. Like one, that's going to ruin his confidence. I feel sorry for Hayden Hurst. That does upset me, that he's not really getting a full opportunity because he is a good football player. But in Baltimore, you look at what we have. And last year, like people are like, oh, if we had the 3 tight ends. We didn't even have 2 tight ends last year. Nick Boyle was hurt the whole year. Like it was Mark Andrews and Patrick Ricard. And yeah, we tried to sub in some pretty piss poor tight ends like Luke Wilson and things like that. And it didn't work at all. But like we need 3 okay tight ends. And Nick Boyle, very, very good at what he does. Mark Andrews, obviously very, very good at what he does, except for catching the ball over the middle. All we need is like one final decent tight end. Who is that going to be? I think it's going to be the weapon, Josh Oliver. But it could be Ben Mason. It could be any of the million practice squad tight ends that we have that are trying to make the team, because there's a whole lot of guys that actually got some skill that aren't Luke Wilson. But like we got some guys that are going to be able to compete. And like we're going to have 3 tight ends this year. That is a guarantee. But like last year was an off year because our second tight end got injured and we hadn't replaced Hayden Hurst yet. I mean, maybe we tried to do it with Breland, but like he got hurt. So like there's nothing that we could have done with that. He had possibilities, but like Hayden Hurst is replaceable, unfortunately. Like finding an average overall well-balanced tight end, that is not rare whatsoever. You look at this last draft, there were about 8 tight ends that were, wow, this guy's a balanced tight end that can go over the middle of the we even signed an undrafted free agent, Tommy Poljan, or sorry, definitely pronounced that wrong. Maybe even got the name wrong. But the tight end out of Virginia. You look up scouting reports. Oh, he's a well-balanced tight end. He can block. He's kind of physical, and he can catch. That's what most tight ends are nowadays. Every once in a while we get the Kyle Pitts, the Mark Andrews, where it's like, yeah, this guy's a pass catcher. They're not a blocker. They're just a pass catcher. All we need is a balanced guy, which is the most common type of tight end. We even traded a 7th round pick for one. So like we can't just like keep expecting like, oh yeah, if we had Hayden Hurst, we wouldn't have J.K. Dobbins. And Mark Ingram was horrible last year. Like, if we had Mark Ingram playing the entire year, we may not. I don't think we would have made the playoffs. Like,
no, not at all.
He was so, and it wasn't. I don't think it's Mark Ingram's fault. Mark Ingram is old, and people that have gotten older, I think they understand that when you're 20, you can go out there and you can play a football game with no warm up, no stretch, maybe you can just show up and play some pickup basketball or something like that. No stretch, you're good. Like, you can go out there, you can play well. When you hit, when you're 30 or 35 and all of a sudden you pull up to that pickup basketball court, you're like, man, I got to start stretching. We did not get our training camp, our offseason programming. So the older guys were hurt more by that than the younger guys. The younger guys mentally were hurt by it, but physically they were okay to go. Whereas the older guys, like, their body wasn't ready. They need those practice reps, those training camp reps, and things like that. So Mark Ingram, maybe he would have been better at the end of the season, but like he really struggled. And I think it's because of that. I think he'll probably be better in Houston this year, but overall, how can you lose out on the trade of a player where we got instant? Like when we got that value, I was like, what? we got a second-round pick for Hayden Hurst, who was our backup tight end.
Yeah.
Maybe, and he was, in my opinion, the third most important tight end. Because I felt like Nick Boyle, what he brings is more important than, the balanced tight end attack. And then we missed Nick Boyle the whole year. So, of course, our tight end play is going to be poor. But that just shows how much of an improvement it'll be when we just get Nick Boyle back. So, I don't know, Ravens fans. I'm sorry, we didn't lose that trade whatsoever. That was like a massive victory.
Not at all, man.
I don't think it could have been more of a victory. We got a stud running back. Our future at running back is solidified. And unfortunately, we lost our backup at the position. If Nick Boyle didn't get hurt, there would be no Ravens fans complaining about losing our tight end. Like, oh no, we lost our third best tight end. Like, what? Like, we got tight ends now. So we didn't lose it whatsoever. But do you have anything else to add on to that, Joshua?
Just the simple fact that, like you said, if we would have kept Mark Ingram, he's a competitor. And Mark Ingram was truly battling through injuries and trying to show that he still got it as a number one back. Mark, I love what and granted, I think we can all agree on this. We love the energy that he brought on the offensive side of the ball. To me, he did actually remind me of the voice in a Ray Lewis. He got them guys pumped. He always slapping, giving people high fives, all that type of energy, man. He was just a good dude to be around, charismatic.
Yeah.
And he when it came to Lamar Jackson, we already know what his slogan was. You can beat me outside the bank. So, man, I love Ravens Nation, man. They keep us going. They make us always think. But we also have to be realists in some situations. And if Hayden Hurst was there with everything he had going on, what if he was that second guy or that premier guy and he got hurt? Then what?
Yeah.
So, it's hard to, say like, oh, if we would have been this, if we had this guy, we would have been that. If we had this guy, we don't know how everyone's going to work in a system that we have created, in order for us to prosper. So, I'm definitely happy that, Hayden Hurst demanded the trade. I'm happy that we got the second pick. I'm happy that we got our future and premier running back out of J.K. Dobbins, Ray Rice 2.0, So, the best of luck to Hayden Hurst. Hopefully he finds some way where he can thrive, maybe like Chicago or maybe even a Minnesota, teams like that. So, but like I said before, if there is a chance for him to bring him home, sure, come on back home. It would have to take like a humility thing out of Hayden Hurst to understand his role and where he plays. And just understand we're gonna get you to a Super Bowl. Just do this, do X, Y, Z, and we're gonna be good. So yeah.
So I feel like that's pretty good to wrap up this segment. Y'all, if comment down below your thoughts on the Hayden Hurst trade, things like that. Check out the podcast platform if you want to hear the other stuff.